Hey babies, welcome back. This time, I'm still here with the color, but we went mostly blue, a little purple. This look is fun. And yeah, I'm gonna take you through it, so keep on watching. Thanks.
Good morning. Once again, we're going through the 3 steps video of how to get yourself together for the day. Once again, she's wiping her eyes and puts her product, getting herself clear and clean of all the oils and everything that she needs to do. Once again, she goes to the next step of wiping her eyes. Then she looks and prepares herself for what she's going to do. The second step is picking out your colors, knowing what's bright, what's good for you. As you see, Tiffany takes her time, puts on her colors. Once again, she's a blend of colors of different mixes of what she needs to do. That's step 2 of what you need to do when you're trying to get yourself ready for the next day and doing your colors. Take a blend, take your time, and blend yourself into what you need for today. Step 2 is getting your colors together, blend them, and put them on your eyes. Step 2 is taking out the colors that you need to pick out for you that makes you bright and exciting about it. Her colors are of choice of blue, a mixture of reds and blues, and blend them in to make sure that she has her natural colors blending in for her eyes and her skin tone. Take your time blending your colors. Once again, the blues and the reds come to one shade. The blues and the reds should come to one shade and come to one purpose of you getting ready for tomorrow. Take your time blending your blues and your reds to make sure that you have the special blends that blends in your colors and what you need. She's just not using one color. She's doing a blend of colors, making her eyes look bright, beautiful, and ready for the day. If you take your time to mix and blend the colors that you need to make yourself look beautiful and bright for the next day, that's what she's doing, making herself and mixing colors fit the beautiful and bright eyes that she has for the day, and not only for today, for the next day. You want to make sure that you're doing your blues and reds to a blend to where it don't blend in with your eyebrows, but make sure you're doing them on your eyes and your eyelids and your covers. Make sure that you don't blend them in with your eyebrows, but make sure your blues and reds are mixed in fine. Take your time. Get to the point to where they're into a perfect angle to where they don't mix in with your eyebrows. Your black should come around and fulfill your eyeliner, not your blues and reds. Your black should come in and fill your eyeliners. Then you want to go over it and make sure that you're covering it with a nice powdered blue mixture of your blues and reds to make sure that they're blending in to separate between your eyeliner. If you notice, Miss Tiffany is going through and make sure that her blues and reds are blended and not mixing with her eyeliner. Then she goes to her facial. Make sure your facials are different between your eyeliners and your blues, and make sure that your facial is a mixture of getting yourself together to where you are in line with what you need to do. Make sure that your blends and your blush is not mixture in with your eyeliner or your liner. Make sure that you see that your facial features should be covered differently from what you are. Notice between her covering up and her cover-ups that there are different blends of what she's doing to mix in with her facial. Your color up and your sealer should be totally different. Your color up should be more light. Your sealer should be more into perform what you need to perform a great facial on your face. Make sure that you are mixing the blends in together, not heavy, not too heavy. If you look and see what we are using for our foundation, for our facial, and also for our blend, and make sure that they are not mixed in very heavily, so that way you do not feel covered up and heavily in your makeup. Take your time to do touch up, find the spots that need to be heavily put and the spots that need to be lightly put. As you do that, then you want to take your time and blend those spots together to make one initial facial issue. Take your time and blend in your facial with the sponge. Take your time, blend it in real good, pat it up, pat it up, pat it up. And once you have gotten everything patted up and equal, you need to now separate and smooth out between your skin tone. Make sure that you're not too heavy or too light, but make sure that you are in a blend and a mixture of what you need to do. Take your time, sponge, 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 and take your time and blend. Now you want to make sure that you're using the cream and putting it together with the moisturizer that we have and blending, blending, blending. Once you have everything blended together, take your time, get your sponge out again, and make sure that everything is equaled out. Make sure you're not too heavy or too light anywhere. Make sure you have blended all together to get the facial look that we need. Now here we go with the powder. The powder mix will make it blend together lightly, and the powder mix would also make sure that your skin is healthy and smooth. Take your time, get your powder mix in, make sure you sponge it in with your makeup. Make sure you sponge it in very lightly, and make sure that you're taking your time to make sure that it's even everywhere you go. A little on your forehead, a little underneath your cheeks, a little underneath your chin, a little underneath your body. Make sure that you are making sure it's smooth. Then make sure you get your liner. go underneath your cheeks. Touch your areas that your liner needs to go in. It's a darker liner. Touch it where it needs to go, between your cheeks, behind your ears, behind your forehead, on the top of your nose. Make sure that it's in. And once you do that with all the powder and the mixtures and the makeup that you have, now it's time to blend it all in together. Take your swab, make sure you mix it all in together. That way you have a smooth and great transition, though, from just being from dark to light to where it's all blended into one color. So make sure that you take your pencil liner and make sure that you're doing, your darker areas and blend them in with your lighter areas to come up with one area to where we know that everything is going to be perfectly blended in and fine. Once again, put your powder on. Make sure your lights and darks are blended in together. The powder helps to smooth out the transition from dark to light and from light to dark. So make sure that you have your powder on and make sure that it's even out to make sure your skin tone looks as good in the mirror without the mirror. So make sure that you're mixing your skin tones with your powder from light to dark and make sure that you're doing it evenly and professionally. As you see now, we are in the mix of putting our lights and darks together and blending them in to where we got the perfect facial figure. And to get the perfect makeup style, you have to go through a mixture of different blends and different types and everything else. As you see, we went from light to dark, from powder to different types of skin tones. Now we're in our last phase to where we're going through and putting on the last phase that we need to do of lights, mixing with our lights and our darks and our powders to get one special blend. As you see, we went from here to there and now we're here. And here's our final thing to where we're putting on our last light blush to feature our total facial needs that we need to get to where we need to go. As you see, we're going to the blush, filling in our darks and our lights, and wherever it is that we have any type of facial that we need to check out or mix in, we're blending them all together to get our perfect features for our face. Once again, there's 5 stages that we went through of going from light to dark to our powders to our lights again to everything we need to do. And notice our final is our thing is blending in our nose area, which is one of our harder areas that we're doing right now. And if you can see that we're going from our powders to our last feature of our makeup to where we're putting our darks to lights and figuring out where it is that we need to do our final touch up and finishing out. And once again, thank you. It's a highlight that we're doing. Now here's the final thing, it's our lips. We're going from a light lips and tracing out with our dark cover-ups to get our features and our lips to where we have the full figure of what we need to do on our lips. From a light to a dark with an outline of our darks to feature the full luscious of our lips.